hear.
Thank you, Speaker. Well, no one cannot not be impacted by the 2019-2020 bushfires. There were tragic loss of lives, hundreds of homes were destroyed and or damaged, along with many outbuildings, stock, animals and wildlife. Recovery was made all the more difficult with multiple floods, storms, landslips and COVID-19, and that journey is continuing. But today I want to focus on our upcoming bushfire season and let people know of just some of the many things that have been done and continue to be done to help prepare. The message I heard loud and clear was the need for better power and communications. I began beating the drum for improved power and communications, and I want to thank the Minister for Emergency Services and the Minister for Communications for listening. A special shout out to the Durras Progress Association that advocated for composite power poles from the Princes Highway into their one road in, one road out community. They also questioned a stretch of NBN cables above ground that could have easily been put underground. Before the 2022 federal election, I made a commitment to have that fixed. Well, I'm pleased to say that just last week I visited South Durras and saw for myself the NBN cabling fixed and the composite power poles being rolled out by essential energy workers from Moruya. During the bushfires, we lost essential and emergency communications when the Mount Wanderer transmission station was burnt to the ground. While the Mount Wanderer transmission station was rebuilt, again came the calls for composite power poles to help bushfire-proof the power to help protect the comms. Again, I made this commitment and I'm pleased to say the composite power poles will go in next year. In Borley Point Kyola, Endeavour Energy has worked with the community with the help of federal funding to build a microgrid, which will provide a more resilient and reliable power supply during emergencies. Speaker, during the bushfires there was no dedicated purpose-built emergency operations centre at Moruya, and I was pleased to make a $5 million funding commitment towards a purpose-built emergency operations centre at Moruya, with funding delivered in the budget. Pleasing progress is being made on this by the New South Wales State Government and Eurobodalla Council. And in the Shoalhaven, with federal funding, 25 community information hubs are now working on the walls of community halls, which provide tailored emergency information controlled by the incident controller in times of emergency. Speaker, the government has also implemented a new Australian fire danger rating system. There is now a dedicated national large air tanker capable of dropping 15,000 litres of water or fire retardant, which will supplement the state's bushfire air fleet. And our rural fire service, both at state and local levels, are doing all they can to complete hazard reductions in time for the upcoming season, even though this has been made more difficult with such wet times. And our local Indigenous rangers have been out completing Indigenous cultural burning. There's upgrades to RFS stations, more satellite communications on key emergency centres. Mobile phone towers now have improved battery backup. There's more cells on wheels to provide emergency communications that can be delivered to communities when needed. In coming weeks, the National Minister for Emergency Services will meet with emergency ministers around the country to make sure we are prepared as much as possible. We've today opened up for public consultation on how we can improve disaster response support. Speaker, just last week I opened up another heatwave and bushfire haven at Batemans Bay. I want to thank the South Coast Health and Sustainability Alliance for their dedication. This is now the 6th heatwave and bushfire haven established in the Eurobodalla. Speaker, there have been many great disaster preparedness projects that I have championed and helped with federal funding. The EMBA project by disability employment provider Flagstaff in the Shoalhaven is another which is amazing, which provides valuable tools and resources for people with a disability, their carers and emergency workers and volunteers. In the Eurobodalla, I have been very impressed by the work of the Australian Breastfeeding Association, spearheaded by local GP Dr Michelle Hamrosi, that conducted research from the bushfires and how we can better support mothers and parents during disaster. One of the results are evacuation packs specifically designed for breastfeeding mums, formula-fed babies and a pack for toddlers too. Speaker, it is imperative that people have their fire plan ready. Talk with your local RFS about what you can do to be fire ready. Speaker, we have learnt many lessons from the bushfires. While we can't defy science, we can be better prepared, and that we are.